All right, looks like we are live. Let me check the audio really quick. Today we got a deal in San Antonio, so you guys can kind of see the details right here. What's up? How's everybody doing? Hey, it's Saturday. Let's get some work done. Let's stay consistent, everybody. We got 226 South Hackberry Street, San Antonio, Texas 78203. I thought I'd just get posted, so let's just quickly take a look at it, right? Purchase price $299,000. Let me see if I can plug this number in so we can be super efficient with our time today because it's the weekend. I want you all to spend some time with your quality time with your family and friends. Loan takeover, approximately $182,000. $182,000. PITI 1792.72. Okay, 1792.72 equals 1792.72. Subtract the principal, subtract the interest. This is what we always do, right? To back into our property taxes and our insurance for our escrow amount. So if you ever have this amount, I always just take that number and I subtract the principal and interest to back into my taxes and insurance so that it always equals whatever person says it's equal to. Down payment of $45,000. That's my entry fee, $45,000. That includes everything. What's my PITI interest? $182,000 is 6.25 interest. 182, 6.25 interest. That's a really high interest rate. Let's see. How do we submit a deal to analyze? Just DM me. I'll do it tomorrow. Let's see. 0% interest. But if you do submit a deal, please make sure you have the details. Like there should be at least be some photos. There should be a PITI number. Just help me out here and make my life a little bit easier. All right. So now it's 0% interest for the seller carryback financing. 0% interest, $72,000. So I'm going to add this in the second loan. $72,000, 0% interest rate. And this is $100 flat payment for first 10 years. And after 10 years, that person will pay the prime rate for 5 years until year 15 when a balloon must be paid full. So balloon is 15 years. Okay. This is $200. So I'm going to subtract $100 right here because they're saying it should be $100, not $200. In reality, if you amortize, okay, hold on. This is how you can also adjust the loan if you wanted to do it this way. You can also turn it into, let's see, can you do 60 years? Yeah. If you have it amortized over 60 years, then boom, that reduces your second loan to $100. Hopefully that makes sense for folks here. That's how you would adjust the calculator to get it to meet the monthly payments that you're looking for based on what's been disclosed. All right, single family 2-bed 2-bath was used as short-term rental until 2024 when they did not renew the permit. Don't know why they didn't renew the permit. That doesn't make any sense. Comes fully furnished. Roof redone in the last 5 years, so I don't need to put any roof rehab. New HVAC, that's good. Seller raised the foundation in 3 rooms. It was about $2,400 a month. All right. So I quickly looked it up on Redfin. Let's do a quick street view. I'm not loving that there's a burned down house right across the street. This looks like a pretty abandoned house as well. What else do we have here? What's on this block? This is a pretty messed up house. Hold on. Did they update it? Hold on. See how the street view changes? Did it change? I thought I just noticed like a complete different view here. There you go. See, it looks like it's been renovated. Somehow when a Google Map car drove by, it's a good sign if this property got renovated to what it looked like just previously, right? So I'm looking for positive signs of improvement in the neighborhood. If you want to look for potential appreciation in the market, you just want to see some kind of life, some kind of construction. This is good. Creedco Construction Group. If you really want to get super detailed and this is worth your time, you can look up what they're building right here. You just look up the intersection and see what this company, what permits they have pulled. This looks like some kind of commercial building that's being built right here. Okay. Don't really know this area, but I've heard of I've heard of Digno Woody Hill, really close to downtown San Antonio. I heard this is a decent area, but that was for Airbnb. So, all right, let's keep looking. Back to focusing on getting the fair market rent. So what we're gonna do is you want to Google HUD FMR. Okay. HUD FMR. HUD FMR. Click on the fair market rents, click on access small area FMR, look up FY 2024 FMR, and then you'll be able to find Texas and you'll be able to get the county. Just in case you don't know what county San Antonio is in, you can simply go to Redfin and see if it lists the county for you. Oh, they didn't actually list it. Let's see if it's on Zillow. Zillow 226 South Hackberry. Boom. See, there's a county listing right here. County. Bexar County. Okay. And since I'm here, why don't we take a look at something really quick? This is now listed right now for $17.99. And if you guys remember, a good rule of thumb for you to figure out whether or not something is fairly priced as a rental, a rule of thumb is that you want to have, for every day listed, you want to have one contact. There's some 0 applications right here, but for 50 days, you would have really liked to see 50 contacts. This likely means that this is overpriced because there's way less contacts. If you remember the property we looked at yesterday, we saw some other properties in the area where it was significantly less in terms of rental. I think it was in Connecticut, and it had like I don't know, like 4x the amount of contacts for the property. So that's how you know something is underpriced, because you get that much activity, that much interest in the property. So for me, even at $1,800 right now, this is probably a little bit overpriced. So that's good to know, just gauging it. So let's go back to our FMR. So at Bexar County, we're going to look for the fair market rents by bedroom and by zip code 78203. 78203. All right, the 2-bedroom maximum rent is 1120. Okay. 1120. 2-bedroom, 78203. Let me write this one down so we can remember it. And then we want to look at the market rents. For market rents, I'm just going to go to affordablehousing.com, owner section, market rent estimator, plug in the address, plug in a bedroom count, and click get estimate. And then here you'll see that it says for 19 units within a 0.41 mile radius, the average rent is $1,635. Okay, that's a little closer to the $1,800 that we just saw listed for, $1,635. But if you were going to pursue a Section 8 strategy, this likely won't work, right? Because it's $1,635 and the rent ceiling, quote unquote, for a property in the zip code for 2-bedroom is $1,120, which is really, that's a lot less. I don't know how you can drive or spur affordable housing investments if your subsidized rent is at $1,120 when the market is at $1,632. Seems a little backwards. Seems a little behind. Not very smart. So for now, I'm going to underwrite the property at $1,120 for rents. Okay. And when I looked at the property, I would say this property is pretty much turnkey. You assume that if they listed it for rent, it's pretty much rent ready. It's got some furniture, especially if it's been an Airbnb. Yeah, it looks pretty solid. So I'm not even going to put anything besides for just in case there's some blemishes, in case those are the perfect photos that they listed on Airbnb for renting it out. I will probably assume that this property is just going to require a light paint job. So 1,057 square feet. Again, no money for the roof because it's just a new roof that just got replaced. I got some $500 for landscaping. I got how many square foot is 1,057, 1,057. That's $3 a square foot. And I'm not even going to replace the toilet because I'm assuming the toilet's operational. And that's pretty much it. I got about $4,400 of rehab just to set that aside, just in case anything breaks before I rent it out. And based off of this, right, we have the PITI number. So 100 currently, and $182,000 loan. I've got my property taxes at 1,792.72 minus the sub to principal, minus up to interest of the payment. And I got another $100 for the seller financing portion. I even add an extra $35 every single month for the insurance number. I have 10% for my capex. I got 10% for my property management. I'm going to go down to 5% for my vacancy. And this is definitely not a deal because at 1120, this is a negative 1,087. And really, that's driven by how low the rent ceiling is at 1120. That seems a little absurd. 1120 is your rent. I haven't seen the rent ceiling for HUD be that low when it's compared to the market rent, to be quite honest with you. Huh, that's interesting. All right, that's a negative 23% cash and cash return. So this is assuming a $209,000 purchase price with a rehab of $4,400. Now, what if you got the full market rent, right? What if this person really got the property rented for $1,799? $1,799. That still results in a negative $570, $1,799. And here's where a lot of your money is lost, is really because of your expenses, right? A lot of folks sometimes will just take the rent and they subtract the PITI and say, "Oh, that's your cash flow." But we all know, even though the roof was replaced 5 years ago, chances are, like, what if there's a hailstorm that hit San Antonio and now you got hail damage and it's causing leaks? What if there's a big hurricane that comes through? And I mean, it's not Houston, but still, something will break at your house eventually. And this money, the money that we set aside for maintenance at 10% every single month, that money does not belong to you. So just keep that in mind. I mean, you could self-manage it if you're just getting into it and bootstrap it. But personally, I always underwrite properties using the rehab costs I have in an Excel doc is a combination from other realtors and other contractors that have helped and given me those estimates. But you will see that there are some lines that are green, that those numbers are from an actual rehab that I have done for my properties in Scottsdale. So that's why some numbers might be a little bit higher. Some people say, "Hey, you got $8 a square foot for LVP. That's really high." Well, that's what I paid in Scottsdale. So it's going to be adjusted by market. And every single contractor is also going to give you different bids. They're going to itemize things differently. Again, use the rehab calculator to not be exact, but more so you have a sense of what type of work might be involved with each step. And again, the point of us underwriting every single day is for you to determine whether or not it's worth your time to send a contractor out there to give you a bid, right? All this is like, hey, if you're on the line, then you might want to send somebody out there. If you're clearly not a deal, I will not waste your goodwill with a contractor, especially if it's a good contractor. They're generally pretty busy. You don't want to send somebody out there because eventually that's like the boy who cried wolf, right? You don't really want to waste your goodwill with a contractor, sending them out there to give you a bid on a property that you were never going to buy in the first place. So that's something that I would not do personally. But for this property, like, I would definitely not send anybody. I got some good friends that are rehabbers in San Antonio, but this is definitely not a deal for me nor for them, especially if we have all these costs in there. So just kind of recap everything that we did today, right? What do? We looked at the property. We did a street drive-by. We got the fair market rent by zip code, by bedroom count from the HUD FMR. Then we got the market rent from affordablehousing.com, going to owner section, market rent estimator. And that's how we found that the market rent is $1,635. However, to determine the rents for what we did for our Section 8 exit strategy, you have to take the lower of the two. So because the FMR is only $1,120, you have to assume that that's the maximum rent you can get and not the $1,635. Could you pursue a long-term rental that is in Section 8? Yes. Could you use this rental? Yes. Could you also use some of the market rents that's out there? Yes. If you do want to use a market rent, a good rule of thumb is you can look around the neighborhood, look for similar comps, similar bed bath counts, similar square footage, and see what they're currently listed on for rents. And if you want to see whether or not something is within reason, meaning, hey, what is a underpriced property? What's an overpriced property? Use the rule of thumb, look at how many days have been listed, and look at how many contacts they've gotten. How do you determine what work needs to be done to correctly run the numbers before sending a GC? If you get a deal from a wholesaler, what you would do is ask for photos. And you should have recent photos that depicts the actual condition of the property. And a lot of folks, what they would do is they would just do like, okay, if it's a cosmetic rehab, maybe I'll just $20 to $30 a square foot. They do a very rough napkin underwriting, back on envelope, guessing at like what the rehab is. And then you send a contractor out there. If you have a good contractor out there and you think it might be a deal, you should really try and pay for their time. Like, hey, can I pay you $100 to go out there or $200 out there to go out there and give me a bid? And you're going to want an itemized bid, separate out by labor and materials. So if you're getting 2 bids or 3 bids from contractors, which I do recommend, I've gotten 3 quotes for my paint jobs, my flooring jobs. You want to get 2 to 3 quotes to keep people honest, first and foremost, but most importantly, for you to learn your market. And that's why it's so important for you to focus on a market so that you get more and more consistency around the quotes you're getting by that market for the rehabs. So you know in general what it costs to paint. You know in general what a roof replacement costs. You know in general how much flooring replacement costs. That's all the items that I would personally do. So back to our recap. 50 days listed, 20 contacts. Chances are this is overpriced. If you see that's been listed for 20 days and there's been 50 contacts, chances are it's underpriced. But that gives you a little bit more confidence in what you're going to be able to charge for rents. Then what do, right? We plugged in all the numbers. We plugged in the rent. We plugged in the monthly payment. So most importantly, we plugged in the existing loans detail, which is right here on the far right, the interest rate. Then we backed into the escrow amount. We backed into the taxes and insurance by simply taking what was the disclosed total payment, and we subtracted the PITI, the principal interest, from the sub 2 loan. And that gives us the property tax and insurance. So you don't have to struggle like, oh, how do I get the PITI to match exactly? Just back into it, right? Just remember the whole reason we're doing this is just to figure out whether or not it's worth your time to go further on the deal. Then it says like, hey, we had another $100 of monthly payments for the seller carryback. So we added that into the second loan right here for $72,000. And what we just did was we modified the terms to make it $100 a month. So I noticed that when it was 30 years amortized, it was $200 a month. So I just simply changed it to 60 years. And that gave me $100 a month. Again, don't have to be exact. All you're trying to figure out right now is whether or not it's worth your time to spend more time on this deal. So then that's how we ended up going through all the scenarios. Usually, if you've noticed when we underwrote deals in the past that were on the market, we went through more scenarios in terms of like, okay, based on conventional financing, what purchase price did we have to buy? Based on the sub 2 or creative finance deal, if it was 100% seller finance, what can we offer in terms of terms based on the price to get our cash and cash return that you're looking for? So those are all the steps that you're going to want to go through whenever you're analyzing a deal. And this is it. This is the implied work of underwriting, right? This is an implied work of real estate investing. Please underwrite every single day with me. You can literally copy. It's like copying homework. Copy what I did today. Do your own analysis. Put it on your own YouTube channel and give yourself the confidence that you know what you're doing so that when time comes for you to pull a trigger on a deal, you don't have to slap yourself in the face like, oh my God, is this a really deal? You will know it's a deal because you've done the work. And remember, all it takes is just 18 minutes a day for 365 days a year, and you would be better at underwriting than 95% of America. Again, this is not investment advice. It's not solicitation for any investments, but in the future, when a partner asks you why you think this is a deal, you can refer them to your own YouTube channel and say, I know this is a deal because I've analyzed 100, 300 deals that were not deals. All right. That's all I got for you all today. Thank you so much for tuning in on a Saturday afternoon. Hope you spent some quality time with your family and friends today. And we'll be back here again tomorrow, staying consistent with everything. So thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for your time. We'll be back here again tomorrow.